As always, very steady. Checks out there from people. Other than that, I'm not sure that I'm saying the checklist, but Dana, anything on within your report or the expenditure and revenue that you want to have?
The only thing, everything as far as expenditures and revenue is pretty standard. Nothing like blatant out of the ordinary. But on my report, items 3 and 4, I don't know if you want to talk about this now or if we have designated time to talk about it later. It's basically about conversion gap into our city and the asset valuation, which is a part of the gap conversion.
We get those coming up here before we get into like.
Okay. Other than those two things, there's something else I would need to point out.
Okay. Item 4, part-time employee consideration for the street department. So this came out of the conversation that we had with safety and service and sent it on to finance for consideration. I know we talked about wanting to move forward with it and financing it through financial ROI that we've got an individual capacity as well as having money in notice on things like that.
Well, we'll start with just on field maintenance. But like on the dump trucks, great job on the dump trucks, anywhere from $600 to $800. Parts on that's $200. The rest of it is labor, and it is labor intensive. So things such as brake jobs, minor wiring.
Recording in progress.
Those are things that I would want him to handle, what I would call the light duty type of truck maintenance. And we spend approximately $15,000 to $17,000 a year on maintenance on our trucks. Now, obviously, if a motor blows up or a transmission goes out, that's we don't have the equipment or things to fix that. The other thing this employee would do was obviously, as I actually had a discussion with him today to define a few more things how it would work is, if we had 3 solid days of snow and our normal street crew was wearing thin, he does have snow plowing background, he does have CDL, he could come in and fill that gap. Now, he is a retired, just retired from taking care of overseeing the equipment for Gahanna. He's wanting something closer to home, which he lives right out here on Castle Street. And it's not wanting 40 hours a week. He said, now, obviously, if we have a week of snow and you need my help, I'll go in there. He's looking for 25 to 30 hours a week. 5 hour days, I said, might be easier for me to go 3 10s than 5 5s. So anywhere in that mix, he understands that it would be a no benefits. He understands he would not be paid for vacation. However, I said we would give him, with proper notice, up to 3 weeks off vacation every year, because he deserves to be able to leave on vacation, but he wouldn't be paid for that.
Unpaid time off, yeah.
So of a $15,000 repair and maintenance budget for vehicles, 15 to 17, I would tell you in my heart, as I believe it, if we saved 50% on the labor and have him here, and then again, he would do other work besides that as well, I would say that would probably be the best we could do, would be 50% of his wage would be saved in not going to the shops and not paying those associated labor and shop fees. Of course, labor and shop fees, $65, $70 an hour for that type of thing. And that's why a brake job on a truck that costs $500, $600, there's only $200 of parts, and the rest of it is labor. Of course, he'd be closer to $18 an hour on that, type of expense.
So what would his annual be?
Well, if, of course, there'd be no benefits there, so $18 an hour if he worked 30 hours a week times 52 weeks.
28,000.
So 28 to 30,000.
Which what I would say is permissive motor, that's about what we get annually
It is. Yeah.
in permissive motor. And we should have by the end of the year about 95,000 banked in that fund.
More.
But our annual from permissive motor is in that ballpark, so.
Now, if the terms are all worked out, his start date, because he had to make a choice, rather as he did his OPERS retirement, the 3 months off before he could come back to work, or forfeit 3 months worth of retirement pay. He could have come back to work immediately. Well, since it's a part-time job, it was going to be a loss of income for him. So we're looking at December 4th, as you know, budgetarily, if this individual goes, December 4th would be when he started. It would not be an immediate, because he opted to one thing to, not work for 3 months. So he'd have to wait that time out before he comes back to work. And they told him December 4th.
Okay.
With this, which has nothing to do with this, it's just the ongoing thing. We have had 2 street department employees resign. They handed in their 2 weeks notice. David DeVore, very good employee. David DeVore, his last day is Thursday, and Chris Ferguson just turned his in today. So we have 2 weeks before he goes. So called Dwayne back. You interested in full-time work? And he is not. He would like to stay on that 25 to 30 hours a week. And I understand where he's at, but he would be very beneficial for us. So I've directed Mike to, as quickly as possible, get an ad out to, because snow season is coming.
It's on Facebook this afternoon.
Yeah, snow season is coming.
Right.
And to drive the one truck, he's got to have a CDL. The 2 550s, we would not immediately. So,
You know why?
yes, David DeVore. Yes and no. David DeVore is hunting a career that he felt he could make quite a bit more money, and he is going on with a company that will train him how to be an electrician. And then get into the union. He has a thought. And so I can't begrudge him that. But to me, that would be along the line of our licensed operators. He would be certified to do a certain type of job. And that's, as we all know, good electricians, those are technical jobs, and he will earn more money than he would as a street employee. Chris Ferguson, I have not heard. I basically just heard, thank you for the opportunity to work there. Had a very nice short letter saying he was moving on. I have not heard what job he is moving to or anything along that lines.
Okay.
So,
Dana, is that something from an exit interview standpoint you'd be able to?
I have an exit interview scheduled with David for Thursday already, and then I'll schedule.
Excellent. All right. Perfect. Okay, so on the hunt.
so
but-
we're on the hunt again and hurried hunt. So if anybody knows anybody that, is hunting for a street municipal job, we'd love to talk with them, and the sooner the better.
Sure. Okay. All right. So with that, what are your thoughts? Cheryl and Chip, I feel like with permissive motor, we've got the funding for it.
The money for it, and I think we'd save money by doing this maintenance ourselves.
Yeah.
I think in the long run, we're better off.
And I would.
And we've got a good person, it sounds like that
Yeah.
is interested.
Mhm.
Experience.
I'll go ahead and make the motion to bring on the part-time street department employee with permissive motor funds as the financing source.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right.
Hey, Jim.
What's up, Jim? We just voted to bring on the part-time street department.
Just voted to fire you.
Okay. The next item is bed tax. So this is something that we've been talking about. Dana, did I send you for Upper Arlington?
I believe so, but I haven't had a chance.
I don't know who has
I,
control.
I had a chance to look.
I
at
did
it.
look at it, yes.
Who has control of
the screen.
You do? Would you be able to pull that up? Did I send that to you?
You didn't send me the bed tax.
No.
Is
Well-
it something I can find easily on their website?
Yeah, it's Upper Arlington, they're codified ordinances, and it's like 201, I think is the section, or it's in the 200s of their administrative code. But essentially, my understanding with the bed tax is that the county has their bed tax that defines hotel as 5 units or more.
Right.
But they don't have any definition for anything 4 units and under.
Mhm.
So in asking some additional questions, I found that as long as we go in and we can define, ourselves,
Mhm.
we can define and we can enact our own
Mhm.
tax of a similar nature. And so in planning and zoning, and I think there's an ordinance on tonight to entertain it in planning and zoning code, is we've defined hotel and motel. And then we have transient accommodations, which defines 4 units and under, which is like the Airbnb type, short-term
Mhm.
rental type pieces. So what we did in planning and zoning is had those definitions, made hotels and transient accommodations conditional, as we had talked before in the commercial. And then in the residential districts, AR, UR, rural residential, et cetera, and prohibiting them within those, right?
Yes.
So then the idea in my mind is pretty much Upper Arlington's codification is you can take that and you should just be able to stick it right in to our administrative code and enact that bed tax, which we'd already have the definitions for.
Right.
But what happens is with the county tax, anything 5 units and over would have a local tax,
Mhm.
and it would have the county tax. Anything 4 units and under would only have the local tax and not the county. So that is essentially what I'm proposing is Jim's method of R&D.
Should be coming up on the screen now.
Perfect. Yep. Jim's method of R&D with Upper Arlington and taking their chapter and pretty much just moving it into ours, provided they don't have anything specific to them in there. We can make it specific to us, but
Mhm.
moving forward with that to entertain at the next council meeting.
I agree. I agree. I mean, we already have an example that Upper Arlington is using that, so this is something that we could do, so, and only clients or guests would be paying the additional tax, not the owners or the company itself, so.
I think from what I read, 3% is the limit, but you have to define too where it's going.
Mhm.
So that would need to be, we can either bring it back and entertain it again within the next finance meeting and hammer out some of those details to make sure that we're aligned before it goes to council. But I
Mhm.
think others, you've said like 50% goes to our general fund and 50% goes to,
Might be
No.
street or whatever, where would that parking lot maintenance fall in?
general
General.
fund. Yeah.
General
Because that's
fund.
where the usage would occur, so obviously we would want to.
So
Right to that.
this is for any accommodations of 4 units or less.
Or 5 units and over.
Oh, so our local tax would also apply to the county's tax.
Correct.
Even now, we're gonna get into some problems since the county shares their tax with us. They split that tax between the county and we get a portion of that.
Right.
It comes back to us,
I think they've got 3% and 50% goes to them.
right?
50% goes to us, I think. Something to that effect. But
Yeah.
then they further split it to where their 100% gets split, 50% to general fund and 50% to like the Chamber of Commerce or something like
Now it goes to the Explorer Lincoln County.
that.
And how do we receive those funds? Do you know?
Well, we have never in the past, so I don't know. I assume.
Oh, because it's specific to, okay, never
5
mind.
units and up.
Silly
We
question.
don't have any,
Never mind.
so.
Yeah.
I'll just be
no.
over there.
But that's where within the ordinance, you'd have to define how we would then take that money and further divide it out.
Okay,
So like I said, we would take 50% as Upper Arlington is 50% to general fund, and the other 50% would go to CIC, would go to economic development or something else, probably to promote tourism or something like that. Probably get those dollars
Okay.
generated. It could go to a budget line item for Explore Licking County to.
I would, I would say they get enough. I would, ours,
So you
to
said
purchase an ad.
buy
or
stuff
something
from
like that.
yeah,
ad space. and whatnot.
ad space, we could, that would fund
Yeah.
our advertisement budget.
But I think it should be fairly simple since theirs is already there and we just.
Yeah, we can just use
form it.
the verbiage.
Yeah.
from them.
So that's my suggestion.
Okay.
I know Jim, Dana, anybody else had a chance to
Any
look over it?
thoughts?
Thoughts?
No, I agree.
It's gonna be better to have something on the books now.
Right.
And what about the prohibition of in the residential zones prohibiting any Airbnb and all those kind of
That's on for introduction tonight.
tonight?
That came out of planning and zoning.
All right.
Transient accommodations and hotels are still conditional, but we're
That's
defining
good.
transient, right?
Okay.
And then prohibiting hotels and transient accommodations in any
In
residential
Any
district, which again
residential district,
is the blueprint coming from Upper Arlington and what
right? Because
they
they
did
don't allow it either,
within the last 18 months.
right?
Okay.
That's
So it's
to
not as if we're setting
to
a
get-
precedent. we're
Right.
following
take
it,
care of their Airbnb problem.
Right,
Mhm.
because they did the same thing. They had it conditional and they went through and reviewed it and then they just took the
Said-
action, I think last summer, just
No,
prohibited it within their residential.
Right.
districts.
'Cause there is, unfortunately, sometimes you have problems, which
Yeah.
is probably why they did that.
Yep.
So,
So I think since that's been a conversation that has been had in planning and zoning, that was a focus and that's why. I took the
I'm
action
fine with it.
to send it off. So-
Okay. I'm good with this.
So I probably best to have it come back to committee to look at it and make sure that it's set up
Mhm.
correctly.
Okay.
Is that all right?
Yeah.
It's fine.
Okay. Cheryl, do you want to make the motion since this is your idea?
Okay.
If not, I
Yes,
can.
people, people really won't like me now. Okay, I make the motion to continue on our discussion with the bed tax consideration.
Utilizing Upper Arlington as the,
Yes, thank you.
Sample. I'll second.
All right.
all in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Thanks for helping for the in part there, Ben.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Okay.
So then, Dana, if we could, we just pass that to Yaz, I assume, to take a look at it or do what we need to do to codify it. And then whenever, I'd say whenever our next
It comes back. to
scheduled
us.
committee
Finance.
meeting is, even if it's budget related, we just take a look at that to make sure that we can,
Prove it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
okay. As soon as that may be. Okay. Any other questions or comments to the bed tax? Water and sewer rate review. Dana, this is, I think we talked in March when we were still virtual or hybrid or whatever at that point, and reviewing in October kind of what that rollout was going to be.
Oh, that's,
I gave each of you a handout. It's the
Right.
long one.
Okay.
got it.
So, top row of tables is they're by year, 2021 through 2025. There's a top row and a bottom row. The top row is the 5% increase that was enacted, and the bottom is without the 5%. And these are the projections as to where our ending balances in each of the 4 funds that are funded by water and sewer payments, where those would end up theoretically each year. So as you can see, if we did not enact the 5%, we should be fine. We are actually pulling in a lot more water and sewer revenue this year than we expected. I think I budgeted, close to $200,000 less than we're actually going to get this year in water and sewer revenues, which is, I was blown away. So I don't think, definitely do not need the 5% increase.
To stay solvent. Okay, just want to say that,
Yeah.
to maintain solvency.
But wait,
Yeah, but wait, there's more.
With current operations.
We got,
Yeah,
yes,
future expansion.
because in 2022, we were probably looking at both water and sewer in engineering fees somewhere between 800,000 and $1 million for each plant.
ooh,
So,
Excellent.
so
Okay.
I think you need to be aware of that.
isn't
Oh,
that
absolutely.
why we were banking those?
Well, I haven't seen your sheet, so I
Enterprise
don't know how
funds
much
so that-
money you're showing as stacked
mean-
up and backed up, but
We get money other than through the ratepayers. And I thought those funds were being used to fund
There's a
the
savings line item. but
expansion.
It's not near that level.
Do you have extra copies of that?
No, but,
we get,
I'll get it later.
tap fees.
Yeah, I
and-
mean,
and
where,
Rent receipts, those
those are going into a fund.
Yeah,
and
that's
they're
our
building.
income. But,
So in order to do the expansion, when we move to that stage,
mhm.
we'll probably have to do bond for it,
Some.
finance it.
we may have.
And
extra
then
money.
we use the state's, whatever that sewer and water fund they've got now, that's like 1% or less, and
I don't think that goes to your treatment plants. I think it.
If it's still there, and I think it can go to the treatment plant.
plus there's supposed to be money in the
Yeah.
the Biden thing that is water and sewer related funds that we may be able to take advantage of for that too. So
Well, and like I say, I work from caution because I lived here when we built. I almost thought I was going to have to move when we built
yeah, we don't want to have
new
to,
old water plant. But it's like the sewer plant, they're estimating between $7 and $9 million
right.
for that upgrade. Engineering fees generally are about 10%.
But we don't want to have to go back to
So-
the ratepayers and
so-
say you're going to get hit with this huge.
I don't want to
water
do it
increase
all at
because,
once
Right, yeah. I
because
don't
we
either.
had that huge increase.
no, I know,
back.
that's why we
And that,
want
and
to
that
do it a
was,
little,
a tough go. So I'm not telling you we need to. And like I said, I'll be like Jim, I'll see if I can get a copy of that and see where our numbers are. But I do think I want to make you aware.
Mhm.
I do think I need to make you aware that those design contracts will probably be signed in 2022. So can we lump the engineering design money into those loans? Do we want to pay the engineer? Like phase one, we went ahead and paid the engineering on both of them.
right.
You know, we paid that, but they also were not $900,000.
Yeah, right. They're a
So-
little low.
I just don't want us to see us get behind where we might have to do more than 5% over a short
So
period.
this, if we did 5%, it would take effect January.
We didn't increase anything 2020, correct?
We did,
Yeah.
We did?
We did
We did 5%.
was it 5 or 3?
5.
I think it was 5.
5 was our ceiling.
Yeah.
So this was where my mind goes is the conversation we had about this and the multiple scenarios. And I think the 10-year plan out that we had about this and what we needed to have as a ceiling to be able to bond what we did for the projects that we have. But wanting to make sure that based off of cost of goods,
Mhm.
labor, et cetera, and how projects actualize, 310 water line being an example, that we wanted to go back and review this every year to make sure that it was needed. But not having all the information in March, wanting to make sure that we did the due diligence and did it here at the end of October. So I think we need to do it. I think we need to enact it because it's planned essentially. We're reviewing it. We have the data to support the need, up through 2025 at this point, and we know we've got several large items coming up that are going to be a part of that. And even to that, I think these costs are, what I understand, are still favorable relative to our contemporaries in our immediate
Yeah.
area.
I mean,
So,
my bill's gonna go up $1.60. I mean,
right.
come on.
And you
Lamp
didn't even
up
notice
to
that it's
240.
Well, and I don't want to present fear,
No,
but I also think it's better a little bite at a time, plus it compounds versus getting 2 years out and go, we need 15%.
It's happened
To make
all at
it.
once before.
Right, and
And
we
that
lived through
case
that,
study did
and
not
that
go
was not a
over
good.
well.
Yeah, yeah, we held the line, 33%.
And for what?
And it was a rough
Get
go.
hit by,
So this
It was a
is-
rough go for 5 or 6 years.
The plan is there, the need is there, the justification is there, the data shows it. Otherwise, if we don't, through 2025, we go from with it at what, 2.8 to what, 1.5. So I mean, you're cutting, 50% into what your ending balance is going to be. And that's not going to help you with,
And the only other thing, that after next year, the tap fee sales are going to be all but gone. Unless another development opens up somewhere. And I'm not saying yes or no, but the money we're receiving from tap fees, Jim, I believe we're going to be pretty well sold out by the end of next year of available taps.
Agree.
And so that anticipated income that we're anticipating Dana, how much are we figuring every year for taps?
I got an estimate of 65 homes for 2022 from Bailey, and that's 65 times 7,400. So that's 481,000. But that's just half of it.
Yeah, you get one each. So that's a good chunk of money
Yes, it
that
is.
we have been getting
Mhm.
every year for the last number of years. But after 2022, we really don't have any housing developments. Not saying something won't come up, but we don't have anything like that planned. So that income stream will also dry up
Um,
after 2022.
I feel like 5% over the course of the time that we had talked about
I think we
is
just go
easy
ahead and
to
do it.
Yeah.
do. Water and sewer, we're very lucky to have the water that we do and have a utility within the municipality. And it works itself because we don't have to supplement water and sewer with anything else because we still operate at 1% income tax. And so we do well. We do well in that respect. And so 5% for this,
So
I think makes sense.
we need we'll have to draft an ordinance to be considered to raise the rates as of,
It's already done.
it's done.
Correct. Nothing is needed to be done. We could just,
We passed the 10-year rate.
We did, it's part of that original thing we did.
yes.
We'll bring it up
Okay.
to council.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah.
as a
The
part of
the
the
only
decision
thing
that
that
we
you
make.
have to do is if you want to waive it, we're
Right.
not going
No.
to do it. That's on,
It's on the books for 5% unless you pass legislation. otherwise.
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Because we
it's in place.
We gave a
One form.
conditionality in that ordinance that we would review it
Mhm.
with
Each
the
year.
option to waive it,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
but it was enacted every year.
Mhm.
Say we go ahead and do it.
I agree.
Okay, let's go ahead and let's do a motion and a second on that. Anybody want to make the motion?
Chip, do you want to make a motion this time?
Yeah. I'll make it that we increase the water rates.
You'll
According to the
you'll
schedule.
Make it that we will
Not waive.
maintain our past ordinance when
Our
it comes to
past
water and sewer. rates.
ordinance schedule.
Yes,
I'll second.
All in favor?
it's all about the words.
Yes.
Aye.
Say yes. or-
Yes.
Okay. All right.
I was laughing at Chip.
Couldn't have done this on the 3rd of November, right?
Okay, the gap conversation and asset value quotes, Dana.
Okay. This is fun. I provided a little summary sheet for you. It looks like this.
Looks like.
I had extra copies, but I don't. All right, so since we are now a city as of tomorrow or 2 days, we are required to report our financials on GAAP basis. And that is a much more complex reporting requirement. We have to do accruals. We have to value our assets. There's many more reports that are going to be required. It is a very big undertaking to convert what we currently are using as a cash basis system to an accrual basis system. That said, it's not something that I can do on my own. It's just absolutely not anything I can do. Now, going in the future, 2-3 years, once we have everything kind of settled and converted, going forward, I fully expect to be maintaining that process in-house, not hiring experts to help with that. However, that being said, the first year, getting our 2021 balances to what they need to be to create the reversing entry for pool purposes, that's going to be, there's a separate cost for that, and then another cost for actually preparing the fiscal year 21 financial statements on a GAAP basis. I was initially contacted by someone from the Auditor of State through their LGS, which is Local Government Services Division. They come into cities, townships, and help with certain aspects of their financials. She quoted me an hourly rate of $55 to do this and several hours. It's calculated here for you under the, you can see the hourly fee, 17,000 just for the first year numbers, and then an additional almost 25,000 for the financial statement. There's a local accounting firm, Julian and Grube, who actually Rusty Smart's wife works for them. And they're a local firm, and they actually do the financials for the school district and also lots of other communities around. Anyway, they're a private firm. This is in their wheelhouse. They do this quite a bit. They quoted a much lower rate for doing all the work. So obviously from that standpoint, I would be in favor of going with them. I fully trust their capabilities of handling this process. And I know they're local and they do everything electronically, which is great. So that's going to have to be spent in 2021. We're going to have that done. Down at the very bottom, there's a capital asset valuation piece. So as part of the GAAP financials, we have to put a value to all of our assets, roadways, infrastructure, vehicles.
Roadways is negative. No value there.
Currently.
Net zero.
Land, buildings, everything has to have a value so that it can be presented on the balance sheet, which we've not done in the past. So this is completely new. I've contacted a few different asset valuation firms. The first one, HCA, they came in at pretty expensive, $28,500 to do all the work. Now, reading through their proposal, which I did not provide, but I'm happy to provide it for you if you'd like to see it. They seem like they are on the ball, very comprehensive. They would do a great job. However, the price tag reflects that. The other company, Asset Control Solutions, I got a quote from them for, about a third of the cost, a fourth of the cost actually, to do that, to do the same type of work. I don't know much about ACS. I was just given their information from an auditor, and the HCA company came very highly recommended. So I don't know if it's worth 4 times the amount, but
Do we know who other municipalities use?
I'm sorry.
Do we know who other municipalities use? for this?
I can find out. I know HCA was used by St. Clairsville when they became a city. I have a lot of information going through my head, and I probably do have that information. I just don't have it ready to give to you, but I can find out.
Is Monroe on here? Monroe Township or Monroe?
Monroe City.
Monroe
City of Monroe.
Okay.
Then
In the,
it might be worth checking in with Sunbury because they're gonna be doing the same thing we are to see who they're using. This is recommended it to them and,
yeah,
so of these 3 companies, which one
I can get you the village managers and,
might have the best, bang for the buck?
okay.
or if we go together, if there's a cost savings,
Yeah, if
if we go into agreement
I'm trying to
with
think
Sunbury.
who the other city
That
was.
might be a good idea.
Sunbury, us, and there were 3.
Or bets.
Obets.
Obets.
Yeah, Obets. What's the other
That's a
central?
funny-
Roundabout
to work with.
probably won't be using a company because I know they've been a city in the past and they do gap.
And then they fell down below and then came back.
Yeah.
Obeds.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
actually know someone who used to work for them and they. do
Okay,
gap.
so, but Sunbury's gonna be in the same boat we are, having to do this.
Okay, yeah, that's a good point. I can reach out to them. So there's two very expensive pieces that weren't anticipated. that we would
Yeah.
Now, the good news about the asset valuation is once the initial work is done and we pay the fee, it's gonna be very minimal or nothing. We could always just maintain it on our own. I don't see why we would have any issues with that.
How about the, Dina, how about the gap conversion? Is that a one-time deal or is that a,
That's a one-time deal. Now Julian and Group did give me a ongoing rate. Like if we got into a 3-year contract, for example, their fee would, instead of being $9,400 for the preparation of the financial statements, it'd be like $9,200 for 3 years. Now, I did speak with Julian and Group and also the Auditor of State and told them that I would like to be able to do these on my own in the future and, have them give me tasks to do so I can become familiar with the preparation. And they're both fully on board with that idea. So that's good. So they'd be willing to hand over the process once I'm fully comfortable with it.
Maybe like a 3-year ramp up and then year 4,
Yes,
maybe year.
yes, something like that.
So do we need a motion to approve Groovy and
Julian and.
Julian and Groovy?
Ruby,
that's,
Julian and Group.
Do we build this into next, are they gonna invoice the, like if it's Julian for the first one, right?
Yes,
Are they gonna invoice the 4,500 before the end of the calendar year?
I doubt it. I think we would pay in 2022. So
So we build into the budget.
We can also
Yeah.
tell them not to post.
Yeah, don't bill us until,
And this is a
Okay.
That
professional,
tends to work.
send us a
Okay.
bill in January.
Exactly.
it's a professional service, so it's not like it has to be bid or anything like
Right.
that. It's still under that.
okay.
And the capital asset valuation, apologies if you stated already, is that a one time or is that a continuing?
That would be a one-time thing.
All right.
They do offer, certain companies do offer services for an ongoing, where they will take care of your addition, your depreciation and your deletion, but that's all very basic. As long as we have a fixed asset system. that would do depreciation. Cost basis of things. I'm confident that I can handle that going forward. Now, along with the capital asset valuation, we as a village or as a city will have to determine what our threshold will be for capitalization. That's why I listed some examples here in the center. I didn't find any cities that were very comparable in size to us, but it looks like the minimum that they all use is $5,000 for capitalization. I think we might be closer to doing the 1,000 or 2,500 minimum threshold for capitalization.
What does that mean, Dana?
Yeah.
So anytime we buy an asset, for example, like a new podium, let's just pretend that costs $2,000. It would be asset tagged and it would be recorded on our books as an asset that we depreciate over time as opposed to expensing it all at once.
Wow.
So the expense would be taken over the useful life of the asset. For vehicles, for example, useful life is typically 5 years for vehicles. So a $40,000 truck, we would depreciate that fully, divide it straight line 5 years, total cost by 5 years, and then take that expense. That 1/5 of the 40,000 every year.
What purpose does this serve?
Yeah. Are they,
It's required.
it's recorded on your books.
I thought everything was just fine the way we were, Ben.
I know.
State's meddling with
Oh.
their stuff.
There's a whole nother world of accounting that we're getting into here.
Dana, wouldn't it be easier just to keep ours at 5,000? So, I mean, I think it'd be easier for you and,
Absolutely. The only requirement is we have to be able to capture at least 80% of our asset. And
It's $1,000 would do that.
$1,000 definitely would. I mean, we could do 5,000 and see where that gets us. Or we could go 2,500.
I mean, every vehicle is gonna be more than 5,000. Every building and land is gonna be more than 5,000.
Like
But they're
the
talking
sign we
about
just put
chairs.
up,
Yeah,
that
like
was
the
Yeah,
sign.
and a
1,500.
sign,
Would that be an asset?
Fine.
And I'm unfamiliar with any of this
What counts? as
words you just said, so I'm just trying to figure this out.
Bailey just asked a great question. What is considered an asset? So an asset is something that you purchase that provides future value.
Okay, so a sign doesn't have,
Sign would not provide
Okay.
any future value.
that helps. Thank you.
Does this have any bearing on insurance?
Somewhat. So we just contract with a new insurance company, and we had one of their appraisers come out to do an appraisal, kind of like a joke. appraisal. It wasn't
close to that.
very, I don't know. I don't think it was like a pledged appraisal, but anyway, he walked around and looked at all the plans just for insurance purposes. And these asset companies do offer that service, but we don't need to since we already have.
See, and I'm thinking any vehicle, any pump, almost any motor, anything we do is gonna have a $5,000 threshold with the size of our pumps. I'll ask this question. We had a high service pump go down today. You know, the repairs on that. I mean, it's a high service pump that's gonna be repaired. Will that be listed as a new
Yes,
capital?
assets that
asset?
have to have like maintenance costs.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what
that
this would
would,
be.
yes, if it would, if it would increase the useful life or extend the useful life of the asset, yes, it would be
Well, it's-
capitalized. It would be
Life is
subject to-
zero. Its life is zero now. It doesn't run, but after I get it repaired, I would hope to get another 5 to 7 years out of it.
Then yes, items
that
like
would be-
that would be capitalized if they're above the threshold that we set.
So anything new I would buy for those plants, I would tell you would be over $5,000. This repair may not meet that threshold, but we only have to have 80%. Because anything we're gonna do new to the water and sewer plant upgrades, it's gonna be over $5,000.
I will mention infrastructure, you can set a higher threshold for infrastructure, like a lot of companies or a lot of cities will have like a $50,000 or $25,000 minimum threshold for infrastructure.
And so then also like software, that would be considered an asset, correct?
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Tangible assets are also
Yes.
depreciated.
everything we
Wow.
have.
Well, first of all, to have a conversation with this Julian and Gruby. One, we should go with them. But two, do we consider doing a 3-year contract? Would that be helpful to you, Dana? You have a 3-year contract, you think, or not?
It's
Or-
only a savings, it's only a minimal savings.
$200 basically a year?
Yeah,
So
so
should we just try it for a year then and continue on if,
I think, yeah, I would recommend just a 1-year thing and then see
Okay.
how it goes.
all
And
right,
if we're happy with them, we'll
we'll stay.
keep them. Yeah.
Okay, well then I'll make a motion to move forward with hiring Julian and Group CPAs for the gap conversion for 1 year at this time.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great.
Do you, with the capital asset valuation, do you want to wait to move on that until you get the quote back from this last company?
Yeah, let me get another quote because I just don't like how the two quotes that I have are so different.
Mhm.
I'd like to see where they come in. And also I want to ask other cities who they use.
Well, in that meantime too, we'll reach out to see about, excuse me, maybe partnering, like we said before, with other municipalities. Okay. So more to come on that one.
And so are we thinking more like a $2,500 threshold for capitalization or 5,000?
I would go with 5,000
5,000.
because I think it's gonna be
Okay,
too difficult otherwise.
perfect.
If we go with 5,000 and say we only capture 70%, what's the cost of going back and?
I
is
don't
it just
know.
time or is it money at that point? There's time is money, so it's probably both.
It's probably gonna be minimal because 5,000 versus 2,500 or 1,000. When you add those extra assets in, they're only gonna incrementally increase the total percentage that you're capturing. So I really don't know.
Okay. Just a question.
I would, I'll definitely ask the asset companies that question and see what they have to say about that.
But we'll keep the asset valuation piece on for the next meeting then, yeah?
Yes.
I may send you all an email, because we do have to get on the ball with this asset valuation. We have to have it done like very, very soon, so they need to get scheduled and we need to get on their books.
I feel like we're gonna have another finance meeting before November.
Yes, well,
anyway.
we probably should anyway, so.
At least one. All we need to probably go for one, so. Okay, anything else with that, Dana, that you'd want to go over?
No.
Thank you for bringing that up. Do we want to? So budget review is next with some Q and As and things like that, and then starting to comb through what we didn't get through at the last meeting. But with that, do we want to go ahead and just schedule another meeting now?
Yeah, let's go ahead.
Okay. So there's an events committee meeting. How far out do we want to go? Do we want to go in November? Do we want to try and go for next week? Dana, staff, everybody else, feel free to weigh in. I don't know what everybody's plans are.
I could do like November 9th. Or, well, November 2nd, that's election.
November 4th, I have to report for jury duty.
Lucky you.
Yeah, and I obviously don't know. I got a call every
I
morning,
know.
that kind of stuff. So that week, I don't know my availability.
Mhm.
Just for
It was,
information.
that was me like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, I got the paperwork. I filled out the survey and sent it back. They may reject me strongly. Well, I have son-in-law's police officer and, stuff like that. So
They didn't like my opinion, so they got rid of me as a juror.
did you have to call them the day before in? They told you to, based off the survey, did they call you back and say, we don't need your help?
Yeah, well, you can do it by text and they just text
Okay,
you.
because I was wondering, because I answered my survey
Mhm,
truly and correctly.
mhm.
And as to me, I thought, well, they may want me, they may not want me. So
Yeah.
I just didn't know how that called, but right now I am scheduled for
The 4th.
the 4th.
I would say
November.
definitely schedule a meeting for the 9th of November. If
Okay,
Do it the Wednesday before council?
on the 3rd, we could do that.
Tuesday, Thursdays, I have
Everybody-
basketball practice, but
Is there anything else meeting?
Safety and service.
Oh, you have safety and service
Safety and service.
on
yeah.
the 3rd?
anything?
Oh,
Council is on the 3rd that week.
that's right.
Right.
That's right. I forgot.
So,
About Monday, November 1st.
down with that.
Not in here. We're gonna be setting up for the
Right.
Yeah, they'll be moving the equipment in.
In the office meeting room.
No, because if people show up,
Uh,
it's hard to accommodate them.
room.
But we could have finance committee on the 2nd over there.
I didn't mean
Or the
council. I
first.
meant finance, I'm sorry.
Oh,
Did I say council?
Yeah, yeah.
Where else could we have a council meeting?
Monroe Township.
Monroe
No, it's
Township?
got to be in the venue, probably.
About
It'll
downtown?
be in the village. We could do it at the fire department.
Fire department?
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea.
Oh, no. Here again, right, we probably could use the Legion Hall.
Yeah. that's
There's
true.
tables there.
Yeah.
Instead of us canceling a meeting, could we move the venue? And still do it?
You mean to the first, since they're setting up here?
Yeah.
The 2nd. We say the 1st or the 2nd?
Well, they're setting up in here on the 1st, so we
We
can't.
can't get in here.
Use it. Do we want to have a council meeting on election day? I would,
No, it's already scheduled for the 3rd
That's our
Yeah, I just.
council.
Council
meeting
was
is
the
the
3rd. with safety and service.
yeah,
I'm
but,
thinking about,
Additional.
I'm trying to avoid Tuesday, Thursday.
yeah, so I was saying, could we go to the,
Monday, the 1st,
at the
at the fire station.
fire station or Legion Hall or something like that? Do
Yeah,
it on
the
Monday.
township trustees have their meeting on the 1st.
They meet on the
So
1st.
that will be, the township part will be taken.
But at the firehouse, you
Oh,
could easily,
they still do it. Okay, yeah.
you could easily set up table and chairs up there. That'd be, if they wanted to, but again, like I said, in the past years, we've had meetings at the Legion Hall too.
Or we could just.
Used to
have
be the rec center.
If
but-
we're just talking about a finance committee meeting, we could just have it Tuesday over next in the admin room.
Yeah, just like we do
I
economic
mean,
development.
chances
I
are
mean,
there's
look at the
nobody gonna
crowd
show
we
up
have
anyway.
here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We can accommodate everybody.
Yes.
Finance committees are-
Tim's,
But you
Tim's trying to move a council
wouldn't-
meeting off.
Tim
of
wouldn't be able to
Wednesday.
be there on the second.
I would be there. I just won't go to basketball practice.
Right, but he'd rather
That's why he
have
was
it
trying to
another
do it
day.
Monday.
Yeah.
He's trying to
How about
move it off.
Monday, the first?
Monday, the
I also know
first.
who pays my bills, so.
How about
How about-
Monday, the first?
Yeah, how about Monday the first?
I can do it. on
That's fine with
Monday
me.
the 1st.
Again,
What,
Tuesday, Thursday.
like 5:30 or something?
Yeah.
Or 5 o'clock or
5 o'clock.
5
Just
o'clock.
regular
just our
time.
normal,
5 o'clock on the
does
first.
that work?
Next door.
Anybody
Next
got a
door.
problem?
Sounds good. to
For
me.
the
Works
finance?
for
Or
me.
just finance.
Oh, well, that would
We've
work.
got another meeting at
Council.
7:30, but that's okay.
Council wouldn't work
Trustees
there.
at
No.
7:30.
Standing room only for the public.
Yes.
They can listen in.
Yeah, well, just like I said, our,
Yeah.
like Park and Rec and Economic Development.
Okay,
All right, we got that.
So
That took out some time.
well, but
so
it's
it's
all right. We got that down, so that's good.
November 1st. PM.
So.
Okay.
So quite a few things to go through here. Dana, I know I sent you some questions and things like that today.
I'm sorry, I didn't get through them.
Unbelievable.
So
No, you're fine.
Okay.
It was late. I usually get them in
there's a
anyway. That's
couple
fine.
things.
Yes.
Yeah, she did.
The capital projects breakdown
Mhm.
and
Project,
then
project.
for the software issue.
Yeah.
And the software issue seems to me be become more of an issue because of having to convert to this gap stuff.
Well, I was worried because we have all these extra expenses now with the gap conversion. I was
Mhm.
worried that we won't be able to afford to the software. But the software will help, and it does have an asset management piece and a project management piece.
Well, and our audit expenses.
Are
have
those,
gone
are
up
those
now, right?
additional modules? Are
Sorry.
those additional modules that we would have
Uh,
to purchase?
Well, the asset management piece, he did break it down into a separate module, but it was only 10,000, so.
Okay, that's
it wasn't
cheap.
Too high. Um, Everything else is the same. So yeah, he got it down to 145, and that's with basically everything that we had talked about: general ledger, payroll, utility billing, analytics, and then the asset management piece added.
So when he says payments may be split over several years,
Yes, they'll work with us on a payment plan if we can't afford it all at once.
pennies a day, the pennies a day plan.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, he did send me a breakdown a few weeks ago of like options of what we could do, like maybe 50% in year 1 and 25% in year 2 and 3.
What type of carrying charge?
Sorry,
What type of carrying charge?
Like interest,
Interest?
he didn't mention any interest. I would.
Oh, well, if it's,
Just
zero-
bill us over. a
0%.
3-year
if it's
Or
zero
3%,
interest,
right.
yeah,
That's a pretty good deal.
that's a good deal.
You say 5 years? Go over 5 years?
No, I think,
I think it was 3, but I mean, he seems willing to work with us, so.
which if you go to him and say, we can't do 3, but we can do 5.
Well, the,
How about 4?
at one point,
to
we
get
talked
it
about
done.
this coming out of the ARPA funds as well, right? Which
I don't know, is it?
is it we're able to do that?
Absolutely.
Because what, if, just for understanding what justification would it have from coming out from the ARPA fund?
Revenue replacement.
Revenue replacement?
Have we taken enough money out of that already for revenue replacement? How much can we use for revenue? How much do we have it in our exposure for revenue replacement based on your calculations?
Oh, 1 second.
Because we've already considered 70 grand for the mobility project.
Right.
So I just want to make sure we're not considering more revenue replacement than we're entitled to.
Correct.
So that's the
That's
only
what I'm
thing I
trying to get
caution,
at.
want to caution.
I don't want to go over.
Okay, revenue reduction. I calculated 236,000
total out of the entire chunk
Um,
or just? Yeah,
236,000 in total. Yeah, that was the total calculation that I calculated as our missed revenue, given the calculation that they provided.
200 and some out of the 500 we're receiving.
It's about half, right?
Yes.
So we'd be good to go.
So we're in the ballpark.
So then, do we have updated ARPA expenditures for the first round?
So the only thing that it's not been passed, has it been passed yet? Yeah, it was, it was passed a couple weeks or months, maybe a month ago. No, I didn't pull that together, but I can do that really quickly.
It was same as the ordinance that we changed.
I just know that we had stuff in there and then we took stuff out, moved things around, but
Yeah, I'll
what
pull
we
up.
wanted to get to was a bucket of the first round and the second round of what we could use for revenue replacement. And then the balance would have to fall under one of the specific categories. So we kind of had a mini, a sub budget, I guess, for that.
Actually, that's a good thought. I think, you might know, with the mobility stuff, we're qualifying that under economic development. Was that a qualifying bucket?
No.
No?
The buckets are to respond to a public health emergency or its negative economic impacts,
Done.
to respond to workers performing essential work during the COVID-19, for the provision of government services to the extent of the reduction in revenue, and to make necessary investments in water, sewer, broadband infrastructure.
Could stretch it on number one.
Yeah, you could. It talks about travel, tourism, and hospitality in that specifically.
Want to get around Johnstown, you got to go through the mobility hub.
Yeah,
I thought we
I think that's,
talked about earmarking some of the first round to mobility in some way, shape or form.
Yeah, we did 35 for
35,000.
the concept plan, another 35 for the grant assistance. I would be comfortable with the category one. And that saves your entire revenue replacement.
Yep.
Because it's gonna be, I don't want to say it's gonna be hard to spend down those other buckets, but,
We'll find a way.
oh, we will. We're
Well,
good at that, but
water, sewer, infrastructure, I mean.
Sort of.
Because you have what, 5 years to spend it, right? Or 3 years or something. It doesn't-
27.
So essentially, if we wanted to, we could take the $100,000 of the sewer lining out of there until it's spent. You
Yes.
know what I mean? So I don't
Yeah.
think it's gonna be hard to spend money down. That's probably gonna be the easier bucket to spend down is that one. With the infrastructure, piece. It's just what are the sub budgets that we have that we've identified?
Danny, you and I can meet and get a better hand, kind of map out
Yeah.
what we think we can use.
We basically appropriated $131,000 in ordinance 3820
Of our 250,000.
of the 267 first tranche. Yes.
The first tranche.
And did we qualify those under any of the buckets or we just appropriated it?
We just appropriated it, but I'll
We'll have to
qualify
do the
it.
reporting with it, right?
Yes.
So,
By the
okay,
First, if we can maybe have that breakdown, I think that would help.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can have it.
I want to do it too, because I just need.
So in terms of thinking through how to approach going through the budget, I thought tonight we could start and just look at the revenue piece first. Which is going to lead into, if we're comfortable with the revenue piece, then we know from a carryover perspective where that's going to put us. And then we can start making sure that, if we need to pare down in a certain expense, that we can pare down in a certain expense.
Yeah,
So are we okay going through revenue first?
sure.
Okay.
Hey, Dana, do you have a spreadsheet you could send to Bailey so she can put it on the TV?
For the budget?
Yeah.
Yes.
Is it the one on October 5th?
It's in the share.
So we're going through the revenues.
I don't know.
Revenue,
Oh, she might.
the budget revenue.
I'll just send
Yeah.
it.
So, yeah. So we can have it on. the screen.
That's available funds.
I took it and compared it to what we did for this year. We could probably, if you have some of the answers, Dana, some of the questions that I sent today.
We're not gonna talk. I can't see. just go ahead. You can talk, Mike.
We can talk our way through it.
Thanks.
Next year, and that's for this year.
They want to look at the revenue tab.
Yeah, we want-
Hey, Louis is coming. Hey, Louis.
Hey,
Hello, sir.
You bring your dry cleaning with you?
Tell me he's gonna stop by. He never does.
Oh,
no, okay. Okay,
Are you sticking around?
Yeah, we'll sit down for a while.
All right. We're going through budget.
Pardon me?
We're going through the budget. Did you bring your notes?
I will go first again.
All right, so 2022 expected revenue, and just looking at what we had, I was comparing it to 2021, but had a couple other questions too. So we're projecting 2.5 for income tax, right? We've got the property tax increase that, goes up on an annual basis. The question I had, Dana, I don't know if I'd seen it
Went up
before, but
more.
the liquor and beer permit fees.
Yeah, we get about $5,000. That should be coming in like November, December timeframe.
Okay,
We get that from the county.
from the county.
that's for all of our permits. And we should next year, since we're gonna have more.
It should increase.
That was my question.
Okay.
Is when will we realize that?
Yeah, I'm probably a year or two after.
After they
Yeah.
pay them.
So that's a 2023 plus. kind of- Okay, because it was static year to year, and that's why I thought about it.
Okay.
All right. So moving on, there's a lot of, comparables in here that don't really change or fluctuate a little here and there. Zoning permits, I think we dropped $10,000, right? From 40,000 to 30,000. I'm sorry, we went up. I'm looking.
We went up, yeah.
You want to flip
From
them?
30,000 to 40,000.
Go ahead and flip them for it since you're talking.
Cable franchise fee went up incrementally. Investments income, we dropped 25. We're projecting now 10 in investment income with how the market is moving. I missed that line on what it looks like tonight. What is our current?
It's only like $500.
Oh, great. Okay,
At least it's not negative.
true.
In the black.
So other miscellaneous was the other question. That stayed the same year to year, but what is that $25,000?
Miscellaneous things. So county court fees I stick in there, which aren't that much. We receive, like, what do we get in there this year? Donations. We got 18,000 or something. Drawing a blank here on what we got this year, but some years it's low, some years it's high. It just kind of depends on the donations that we get. I think any kind of parks donation I put in there. Yeah, like the Trailhead Park and things that we get donated from, like the energy co-op or from the county goes
The
in.
$10,000 from the energy co-op would be in there.
Yeah, once we get it.
What about our payment in lieu of taxes with New Day?
That would go into the income tax line up above municipal income tax.
So year to year, we feel comfortable with the 25,000, just as the baseline.
Do.
All right. Gasoline tax. We budgeted 279 this year. We're budgeting 260 for next year. But I think you said we plan to actualize around 270 for this year.
Yeah, and I budgeted actually 280,000. This number that you see here is 93% of it. So if you look at the cell, there's a calculation in there. it's 280,000 times 0.93. And the other 7% goes into Fund 2021. That's the 19.6. If you scroll down a little bit. you'll see it. So the 19.6 plus the 260,400 gets you 280,000.
What is that compared to 2021? Then it still looks like it's less than 2021.
280.
2021 has 279 in the gas tax line and 21,000 in the state.
Where are you looking?
The 2021 expected revenue.
This year's budget.
Oh, this year's budget? Oh, yeah, well, we're not gonna actualize that.
Okay.
I'm sorry, are we talking the same language?
Yeah, I think we are.
Okay.
I'm just surprised to see. But if you have it split between the two and we're actually at 280, I didn't realize it was split between the two. I don't have the Excel. I just have the printout.
Yeah, it's split.
Okay.
So you're estimating it's basically going to be the same as this year, is what you're saying?
I am, yes.
Okay.
That's what incremental increase. Yeah. The operating transfers in the 110,000, that is to supplement the street department, right?
Correct, and that's just an arbitrary number based on where my street fund balance ends up on the overview tab.
So if we're planning to utilize the permissive motor fund as part of wages, we'll want to account for that on the revenue tab, right?
Yeah.
Okay. That one, we talked about already. I didn't think I had any other call outs on the revenue. The only other question is on pages 3 and 4 for water payments, sewer payments, and then the debt. Did you rebalance those? Already the numbers look to be 50-50 split between the two.
You're looking at the water rent, sewer rent,
Yeah.
and
You got them highlighted in purple. At least on-
yeah, so
You got 720 and 720 split between the two.
yes. So the way I do that is I consider those two and plus the debt payments. So there's 4 total accounts. And if I sum up all of those, we get 2.4 million. So that's what I'm anticipating for water and sewer payments for 2022. And then the allocation is 30% water rent, 30% sewer rent, 20% each to the debt.
Oh, I see. You've got the breakout on the right. Okay. So we ended up not rebalancing those this year, correct? We kept them
Correct.
the same.
Correct.
We'll reevaluate going into next year.
Yes, I think we will have to reevaluate probably next year or the year after, but not now. We're okay now.
Okay. Do you have any other call outs on the revenue?
I did move the bulk sewer, the bulk payments that we got from New Day for the sewer payments. I used to have those in the water operating fund. I've now moved them. I've reclassed them into the water or the sewer improvement fund to go towards plant expansion,
You mean,
as we had discussed.
you mean the water or
Sewer,
sewer?
yeah, the sewage, bulk sewer hauling. Yeah, we've got about 280,000, I think, this year. And
Okay.
I've reclassed it from sewer operating into sewer enterprise improvement. So
Okay.
net zero, but it'll change the lines.
All right. So with revenue then, the other question then, I guess as a call out to revenue is the open POs piece when you talk about carryover. Jack, I know you said you talked to Dana already about kind of where these open POs sit now. That is on overview page that we at least got from the 2022 projected available funds. I don't know Taylor, if you have that. you can-
Well, I have the breakdown of everything. I didn't want to pass it out because it's a lot of numbers. It'd be very confusing. Basically, all of the roadway projects should be done, like Upham, Benedict, Buena Vista. All of those should be done in 2021. So I'm expecting to pay those fully before the end of the year and not have to reappropriate any money. So the way I calculated everything on the overview tab is I considered all of these payments, except for a few of them. I consider all of them to be paid in 2021, therefore no extra carryover and also no extra appropriation for 2022.
And Enterprise Center final bill came in today too.
Yes, and it's lower than
Yeah.
in the past, which is great. So we'll have some savings there.
This was on the driveway and the. or the whole
Water sewer,
thing?
the whole thing.
The whole
Our
thing,
third
okay.
payment is only 245, maybe
74
74.
something.
It's supposed to be 330.
Yeah.
The
Right.
dog park will be expended. We know that, right?
Should be.
100% should be. Trailhead Park, the 45,000, that's for the paving. That'll be looped in with the street and the north side paving. So Salt Temple, that's still outstanding. It's like there's 28,000 still sitting out there.
Yeah, made some calls on that, see about getting that closed up. I think 8,000 of that will be expended. I got them. They built it. We had some flaws and some concrete work. They were to be back in the spring of 2021 to fix it. I called them. I said, either get here and get it fixed, or we're closing the contract and there'll be no more money. They will be here tomorrow. And we negotiated the price from 28,000 down to 8,000. So I think of that 28, there's going to be 8,000 paid out, and the rest of it will move back into general fund.
So we've got some favorable.
That'll,
carryover.
yeah, that'll stay in CIP, but yeah.
Yeah,
general
yeah,
fund.
yes, sorry, general fund.
All right.
Yeah.
So for me, that answers the outstanding PO piece then. We're obviously got a couple more minutes to do a couple more pieces here before moving on. So the CIP conversations and things like that specifically, we'll probably have to keep for the 11-1 meeting. But a couple other questions just to bring it into context. Dana, our auditing costs in the past have always been in the $5,000 range.
It's been about 12,000, but I
12?
split them between general fund and water and
That's right.
sewer.
But now we're in the $60,000 range, split 4 ways between because of the city status.
Now, that's gonna change because that amount of money was calculated based on what the auditor of state proposed. And since we're not gonna go with them and go
Okay.
with Julian, that will decrease.
So that'll give us then a favorable carryover in street and admin, water,
Yes.
water and sewer. I mean, obviously water and sewer as well, but general fund with where we're
Yes.
lacking. Okay. And then updated numbers, have we reached out about the Leafy Dell Roundabout project? Do we know what our local spend is going to be for that?
So I've searched through project files and old emails, and I've seen that we will be paying $300,000 out of pocket. I know there was other discussion more recently that we were gonna pay 367,000. I didn't see that documented anywhere, but I could be missing something.
I honestly haven't looked.
Okay.
but-
So
but we can-
300,000, and then I have the breakdown as 28,005 in 2022.
Okay, I think that's what I had,
Yeah.
similar to that. I just want to make sure that we're taking bites out of this going forward. As we'll get to the engineering phase and decide whether or not we're doing the roundabout or we're doing the signalization or what exactly. How exactly we're going about it. We're planning for the roundabout because that's the higher dollar amount. It's the most money you want to set aside, but we can always dial it back.
Yeah, but our proportion from LCATS will also be dialed back.
Right. So is that something we think we can have for November 1st?
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
The SIB loan project Mastodon piece, I think it's on for tonight as well. We're looking to reach out. Is that additional monies, grant?
No.
Loan.
Loan,
Loan.
with
So
the
we don't
grant,
have-
well is dry,
We do not have that built into debt service right now, right?
correct?
But that debt service probably wouldn't be due on that until completion of the project. You're probably talking, what, 2024?
No, that'll be, no, 2023.
23?
Yeah. It'll be built next year.
They're engineering it now, so.
That's right. It's been about a year or so. already. Okay. Dana, as you've been providing the breakouts, would you be able to show, just out of curiosity with that built in, maybe a 2023 debt service snapshot, just to understand
You're talking the SIB loan, is
Right.
that just the 50,000 or are we talking?
Gonna be
We got
500 plus 800. So 1.3.
We're gonna bond it?
No, it's gonna go through
So it's
SIB loan.
going for the civil.
Oh,
It's the
okay.
low interest piece.
Okay, so we don't
It's,
have to pay any, we just have to pay the debt service?
Right.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, just the.
I mean, we
debt
have a couple
I mean-
things falling off, but I don't,
Yeah.
Just the debt
Over
service.
time, we pay,
debt service is still gonna be a net positive,
It's the pennies a day plan.
yeah.
because we just have the cruisers falling off between.
So we'll be picking up some more probably.
Yep.
But yeah. We gotta keep replacing them, so.
But just to get another year out there on debt service, I think it would be helpful just to get an idea, because that's gonna come out of general fund for
Yep.
2023. All right, well, that answers the SIB loan piece. That's not a 2022 conversation. Okay,
The rest of this we can carry to
yes.
the first.
So
Yeah.
just for what we're looking at on the first, then, the first, we will have kind of that sub-budget breakout of the ARPA funds. Tranche 1, tranche 2, what will be expended, and then what the balance available is based off of what the justifications are. We'll have updated numbers on the Leafy Dell Roundabout. Our contribution would need to be there. We've gone through revenue, we've gone through the open PO, so at this point, we can start going through budget and start looking at how we have the CIPs broken out within the budget. That work? Works for
Yes.
me.
Real quick, I also put together this bonded status.
Yes.
We didn't get to talk about it, but I encourage you to also take a look at it and see where we are. For the general fund, we're pretty much spent. Water and sewer, the water system improvements, we've got some flexibility there with the water tower and the 310 water line obviously not being done. I did move some monies around there so that you can see the adjusted column. Like, for example, money that we weren't spending on the money that we needed for the water tower came out of the 310 water line.
Mhm.
Just moved it.
Okay.
So we will have extra, and I don't know that the water tower is going to be an additional 2.1 million. I'll have to talk with Jack and get some more details on that. So we may have more of a savings there that we can put towards engineering for the treatment plants.
And we did Sportsman's Club, water line, sewer, so we gotta take that and
And we did that.
the Duncan Plains water.
'Cause that piece is gonna be key when we're talking about the
Yeah.
water rates and the expansion, everything, how we have that earmarked, so we don't unintentionally double dip. All right. Perfect. Any other business?
I second.
All in favor?
I.
Aye, we are adjourned.